Hey everybody, it's Andrew Brown from the AWS Cloud Project Bootcamp, bringing you another video. In this one, we are going to implement CFN Toml. Apparently, I had it private, now it's public, but I did have it published. And so what this is, it's an easy way to load up a Toml file and for us to use it in our bash script. It's not super complicated, but the thing is that you do need to figure out a way to manage your stuff here. This is also a really good way to see how gems are built, at least for Ruby, because once you learn how to build one library, they're all pretty darn similar for other languages in some sense. So just to show you the code, it is very, very simple. There is a version in here, but the code is mostly contained in here. And so the idea is that we're going to load a Toml file. It's going to look for some particular parameters. You can see it's not a very big file. I could probably document it a bit more to make our lives a bit easier. And then this is the actual thing that makes it executable so that you can do CFN init. And so there are parameters here. So I think I documented this all right. And so we'll just figure it out using our reference. And I think this is fine because there really is no other way to pass over these environment variables, at least that I know of for CloudFormation. So I'm just surprised that I had this for so long and I never had it public. But anyway, that's okay. What we'll do is go ahead and use it. It'd be fun to actually convert it to Rust. It'd actually be a really good small coding project to do, but that would be for some other time. So I am in here, and so what I want to do is install that gem. So I'm going to say gem install CFN Toml, and that will globally install it so we can use it anywhere. And so now what we can do, and what I want to do is put this in our git pod YAML file here. Sorry. So I'll go over here. Tell my hair's crazy. I just took a shower. That's why it looks like that. But we can go here and do gem install CFN Toml. Okay. And what we'll do is now define that CFN Toml file. So I guess we could just place these in our AWS directory alongside these and make examples. So in here we can just say config toml.example. And then specify what it is that it needs it. But really, we don't need one for the first one right now. We just need it for the second one. So we'll move it over to our cluster. And I'm going to go take a look at how this works because it's been a while. But we'll type in CFN Toml. I think it should prompt us and tell us how to use it because that's I think how I wrote it. And so it's complaining here because there's no file. That's totally fine. But we'll go back over to, I guess it needs a little bit of work here. But we'll go down here. It's supposed to print out the instructions there, but it's expecting a file. That's totally fine. So we'll just work through it. And we have an example here. So this is our deploy parameters. These are things that we can reference when in our CloudFormation part, and these are the parameters that we are trying to access. So I'm going to drop this here. I will say allow, and this can't read environment variables. At least I don't think it can. I can't remember if I implemented that or not. I'd have to go look it up. But I'm just going to change this to our appropriate location. So this will CA Central 1. And this will be my CFN artifacts. I'm not using a profile here. The stack name is CRUD CRD cluster, I think. And so then what we'll do is open up our CFN file or bin file over here for cluster deploy. And we'll look at how it's supposed to be used. So the idea is you use CFN Toml and you can grab a specific key. So this is deploy profile, things like that. So that's how we're going to grab those particular things. So I'd probably grab these. There's version 2 and version 1 because it really depends on if you're using the old CloudFormation create stack or the deploy. Version 2 is for the deploy, and that's probably what we should be using. And also, yeah, because the way they define parameters is different in the entry. If you compare them, they'll be different. So just make sure you're set to version 2. And what I'll do here is go ahead and just copy and paste these in here. Okay. And we'll go take a look at my example of my other repo here. And so here we have the parameters. And so by default, it will load the config.toml file, but we might need to specify the path. So that's something that I'm going to do here. So in this, I have a -t. We'll just say config path. And so then we'll have to specify the config path here. And to make things really easy, I'm just going to hard code it. We can fix this later. Config.toml. And so that's how it's going to work with that. And what I'm going to do is go down to my git pod ignore file. I mean, we really don't need to ignore it, but you know, you really should generate these out. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and create a config.toml. It just really depends if there's going to be sensitive data in there or not. But right now, I don't believe that there will be. So this is correct. The artifact name, these are other things. So here we want to go back to our CloudFormation template. Over here. And what I'm looking for here is this one here, certification ARN. So this is what we need to pass in as a parameter. And so I'll go over to my AWS account and go grab that. We'll click into that, and then I want the full ARN here. I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to just paste that value in here. Okay, and so what I need to do in what I need to do here is just a moment. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, our config path is set here, and so it will load those parameters in there. We need the override, so we'll go over to my other code where I had an example. And it's just down below here where we're passing in the parameters. I'll grab that over. Of course, you will have to spell it out or find it in my source code that's pushed to my repo. But the idea is that we'll put that into the proper parameter format. If you're wondering what that looks like, we can go over to AWS CloudFormation deploy. And we can go here into parameter overrides. And so the format here is this. Parameter key, parameter value, parameter key, parameter value with a space in between. And so that is what that output is going to do, that there. So I'm just trying to think, that should load it in the correct location. So that looks fine to me. We can replace some of these values here. So we do have the CFN bucket here, but we can also just set it like this. And we can even explicitly set the region if we want, because maybe like through this file, we could give it parameters and say deploy production, deploy dev, and then swap out the config based on what that is. And that's the reason why I made this, was so that it was easy to swap out envars for that. So I'll go back over here to this one. What I'm talking about here is like, see where it says deploy XL. So the idea is that whatever namespace you want it to be in, and then that way we can do conditional stuff there. But anyway, what we'll do is go down below here, and I was looking just for the region. Okay. And we'll go ahead and paste that in as such. And then we'll get the stack name here. And we'll paste that in as such. Before we do, I just want to make sure that is exact matching. So that is like that. We don't really need it in our example. It really needs to go in this file here, but for our example here, I'm just going to take this out here. And just clear these out so we have an idea what these are supposed to be. Does that say EWS now? Let's change that back to AWS. Just get rid of that part. And so that should load the stuff that we need, okay? So what I'll do here is I will go up and I will attempt to run this again. I guess we don't have an up here just because of how we did it. Gem install CFN Toml. I'm just doing this because I changed scopes here and just making sure that it knows where it is. So here we will go bin, CFN, cluster deploy. Undefined method exists for file class. So I'm not sure why it's complaining, but what I'm going to do here is just stop the video and we'll come back to it. I'm just, honestly, I'm just really tired and I got to take a break. So that's what I'm going to do, okay?